Welcome back, everybody, to the Birdies and Bourbon show. Our friend Jon Tattersall, I think we might have actually caught him on vacation, but
yes.
he has been kind enough to come on and chat with us during Masters Week, which, hey, Masters Week, no Masters Week, it's always a pleasure to have top 100 PGA instructor Jon Tattersall on the show with us. Jon, we got a lot to catch up on, man. You've been on TV. I mean, like, I got the PGA golf instructor part. You never told me about the whole movie star role you're going for.
I need an agent like you. Yeah, movie star might be a stretch. I was on TV, but let's go with movie star. I like that.
Well, hey, for what it's worth, I watched the whole thing, so I thought a couple of
Good.
them I saw. So I think we were messaging a few months ago, and you'd mentioned you were heading to Texas, I believe, to see Chris Como, and we were getting into and fitting right as we're approaching our Thursday morning tee times at Augusta. That'll happen in relatively. It's happening this week. And interested to hear, I'm looking at Bryson, and, he's doing his interviews, and I'm looking at Bryson going, I mean, his swing speed's going up, but I think he's kind of plateaued as far as where his body, I'm going to use the term where he wanted to grow his body to. Yes. And he's still continuously getting faster. I'm sure you and Chris had a chance to break that down. What's going on there?
I think back to the food issue, I think he's still eating pretty well, but I think he's kind of tapering off on the protein shakes possibly, but he says he's trying to lean out of it now. I mean, he is a big kid now. He's strong. I don't know exact body weight, but he's putting a ton of muscle mass on, last 18 months, which is pretty impressive. I mean, I saw the interview, which would have been 19 when he said, that I think it was the Vegas Invitational, the Vegas tournament. Hey, I'm going to take some time off. I'm going to get bigger. And it was kind of like, okay, whatever. And he did. And he got significantly bigger. He got significantly faster. So I spent the day with him in February. It never snows in Texas unless I go there, apparently. So I got out just on time on that Sunday, but I spent all day Saturday with him. So I was going there to work with Chris, talk about some data and look at some things. And I've known Chris for a long time. He's a tremendous guy, great coach, obviously, but just a fascinating individual, wants to learn, wants to get better. So it's a great guy to chat to. And anyway, Bryson showed up. So we had 5 hours basically with Bryson. And he hit driver for seriously 2 hours straight, like ripping at it. And so this was the Saturday before he went to LA for the LA Open. And I said, there's a lot of things we talk about, but I said, what's your week look like? Like, what's the training like? Because I was kind of getting exhausted watching him hit it. And every shot he hit, I've got my fingers in my ears because we're indoors in Como's lab. So I turned on my watch and it has decibels on it. And he was in the dangerous range for my ears most of the time. So I'm literally doing this. And I have to do that a little bit indoors anyway, but he was 95 decibels plus every time he hit a driver.
Wow.
So it's like, what does this week look like? Like, it's Saturday, you're flying tomorrow. What's your week schedule look like from a periodization point of view? Because this is speed training, obviously, now. And he said, speed training. I said, okay, like every day? He goes, yeah, like, of course, every day. So, all right. So, like I said, he hit driver for 2 hours, pretty much nonstop, had the music cranking, getting pumped up, just ripping at it. And what surprised me the most, I mean, we talk a lot about use of vertical force, and unweighting is a word that's used quite a bit. How quickly he got out of the ground in the backswing, and how much effort was put in off the golf ball. So we were doing. We had 3D on him on his entire body from before. We had 3D on Kyle Berkshire, who's the world long drive guy at the moment, and he's been working with Kyle and with Chris to look at how he can generate more speed. And the amount that they stand up in the backswing and move off the ball in the backswing, so the center of mass moves up and back pretty much immediately in the backswing, was pretty dramatic. That was one of the things that most surprising to me. I knew that they moved up as their arms went up, but I thought it was kind of in concert with the arms going up. But they're moving up, and then their arms are kind of going up. So, the old keep your head still, take it back slowly, don't swing too fast in the backswing, stay calm, get your breathing right, stay down. Like, he's literally like looking like a weightlifter getting ready to lift a big weight. And that's what he was doing. He was absolutely mauling it. Wow. I said to him, we had a Foresight quad monitor set up, which is measuring ball speed. So we were doing some things swing wise with him. And I said, can we look at the club speed to see, is the club speed going up, but you're not hitting it at the center? So we're actually moving the club speed up, but you may not be getting the ball speed up, because he wanted to be 210 ball speed. To give you an idea, 165 driver speed is about the average on tour right now. Wow. So think about it.
He's going to 210.
He's at 210, basically. I think on the range this morning or yesterday, it was showing 211 ball speed. Wow. So what is that? 40 miles an hour faster than the average tour pro. So 2.5 yards per mile per hour. Do the math on that. That's crazy. Long. Crazy. So I said, hey, can we just see if the speed's going up, but the ball's not going further because you're not hitting in the center? He goes, I know where I'm hitting it in the face, man. I was like, okay, that's a good combo. Good chat. So I was like, all right, fair enough.
So he was hold on. I gave a little bit of an introduction. I didn't give enough of one. You can tell how excited I am to have this conversation with you, and not just about Bryson, but about the Masters, and to chat with Jon just in general. But I got straight into it. I'm like, hey, we've been on enough dates now. There's no reason to play around, right? Yeah. So Jon, tell us, for the folks that are listening, maybe they haven't listened to you before or listened to you on the show. Give us the Jon Tattersall bio, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I was born in England and played golf over there professionally. Came here 30-some years ago, just fascinated about the golf swing, fascinated about trying to play better. And back then, there was like so little information, if you will, available as to how to get better. There were good players, there were great athletes, but like, okay, what does that mean? So I'd say I spent the last 30 years trying to figure out what those things mean, a bit selfishly for my own game, but also I tend to deal with a lot of very curious people who really want to get better. And I guess somewhat because I either need more bravado or whatever, but I can't just tell somebody, if I know I'm bullshitting you, then I can't do it. So if somebody asks me a question I don't know the answer to, I am really going to try and find out what the answer is, or point you in the direction of somebody who knows what the answer is. And in the last 20 years, realistically, I would say sports science has really come to our sport of looking at, okay, what does a good golfer do? How do they move? What are they capable of doing? What kind of output do they have? How much muscle do they need? What do they need to do to move well for a golf swing? So all those things are kind of like unwrapping the onion, if you will. And I don't want to say I've been the forefront of that, but I've been pretty close. And I certainly have been around a lot of the people that are at the forefront of it. So I've been fortunate to work with it's a bit fortunate, unfortunate, because it's always not always easy. The player of the year on the PGA Tour, the player of the year on the web.com tour, multiple Ryder Cup players, multiple President Cup players, a lot of tour winners, and college winners, et cetera, et cetera. So I tend to gravitate towards better players, coaching them, only because they want to find out some answers. They are not scared about getting better. And I think that's helped me become a good coach for everybody, hopefully, but it certainly made me push beyond my comfort zone and try and get better information for people. And I enjoy it. I mean, it's great. That's all I do is coach. I'm in the top 100 of the Golf Magazine list of coaches. But healthy paranoia is what I would tell you every good coach has got. And I told somebody that, I said, just because you're paranoid doesn't mean you're wrong. He goes, no. Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean somebody's done out to get you. I was like, thanks. That's gone to a whole new level of darkness that I didn't know existed. So, So really, really trying to get players better of any ability, and have a good time with it most of the time. I would tell you trying to get good players better is not easy, because they can actually do what you tell them to do, and if it's not correct, they are the ultimate bullshit detector. So they know what works and what doesn't work. They may not be able to verbalize it, but they can do it.
Sure.
So it's great. And one of the things that impressed me most about Bryson, I'd met him before, I didn't know him, never helped him before, and without using the language he used, he came in. He goes, "I don't care, fill in the blank, what it feels like. I want to get faster." And he said, "You tell me what to do," meaning us, all of us. There was a 3D expert, there was a force plate expert, there was Chris and myself. "You tell me what to do and I'll do it. If it works, well, great." And this was February. He just won the US Open 5 months earlier.
Sure.
Like how many players are willing to go?
Well, no, why in the hell do you want to screw with stuff when you're winning major championships?
I think the mindset to get to that level, and I had this conversation with Patrick Harrington a few years ago, because they were busting on him for modifying his swing all the time. He goes, my swing does not resemble what got me on tour. So people saying, don't try and get better. He said, if I'd have done that, I'd never got on tour. So he said that is a constant mindset. You don't just get to a point and then go, okay. So that healthy paranoia that I have, they have probably times 10, because their entire income depends on how well they hit the golf ball.
Right. So, I always, we always open up the show. Well, before we open up the show, I always say, no curveballs, just straight shoot. Well, okay, curveball. But I'm going to plagiarize a little bit, and this is off your site, but I think it's one of, and even though, we've had plenty of chats together and such, but I always like to go and just make, is there anything that I missed? And, I probably said this before, but, you've got, the 3 ways that you support the person you're coaching. And the first one, and I don't need to get into the other 2, but you can if you want to, but it's cultivate your desire to be a better golfer. And the reason that kind of resonated with me, and that I guess my question is, so you're coaching, an amateur like myself, and it's okay. Maybe you need to get me over some hurdles to want to be better, to want to practice, to want to do things that are going to allow me to be a better golfer as an amateur golfer. As a professional golfer, you walk in the door and Bryson says, "I don't give a fuck what it feels like. Hey, just make me faster," right? So you're not cultivating any desire for that person to be better. What's the mindset? And I'm gonna dovetail a little bit into, you've got the other 3 individuals in the room that you just mentioned. Como, you got the long drive champion, right? And I forget the other person you mentioned.
We had Kyle Burks' data. He wasn't there that day, but we had Michael Neff, who's a 3D expert, and it'll come to me in a second. But anyway, he was a force plate expert.
But so I guess in that line of thought, right? And I'm kind of looking at this. Okay, well, who is Jon Tattersall, and what is he about? And I think you drive it home with that first bullet of hey, either you've got to want to be better, or I've got to make you want, or I've got to help you or coach you to want to be better. What's that mindset look like, and what's the game planning? And I'm sure there's things that you guys talk about in private, if you will, that that you won't share. But how is that conversation different, other than you're dealing with a person of a different caliber?
Yeah, I think when I'm coaching a player, I am looking at all aspects of how to get better. And that's what I'm charged with. So that ultimately means, do they score better? So I have to look at all aspects to figure out how to improve their performance. But I think a player of Bryson's level, and me being included in the team in the way in which I was, it was a very specific, you are not here to talk to me about how I feel on the first tee. You are here to help me understand or help me discover something about speed I may not have thought of. And so he was extremely good at understanding what he did, what he didn't do, and does anything I'm saying pass the bullshit detector test. Right. So it was a very specific you're here to talk about this. Some of the other stuff I asked him was about just shot shape type of thing, or like where in the like speed overall, blah blah blah. But what I was there for was very much to understand how's he moving, look at how the body's moving, and look at how can we get more output into the club head and ultimately into the golf ball. As far as direction, selection of shots, nothing like that. We didn't even go there. This was in Como's lounge, hitting balls into a net. So we had 12 feet to worry about, basically, and we had ball speed to worry about. And that was great, because it's like, here's the task. Here's what we're going to look at. We have 3D available. We have force plates available. We have launch monitor available. And him, I mean, you talk about a
Sure.
test dummy for speed. He was impressive and not scared. That's what impressed me about the mindset, which I loved, because I've had, even at the highest level, I've lost clients on the PGA Tour because I have seen that they weren't as fast as they needed to be. And I have brought that up to them, and they have not wanted to do those things to get better. So as a coach, I've then pulled back rather than say, look, get in their face and say, look, if you want to compete at this level, we need these ball speeds, just because everybody else is trying to hit it further. And so the simple math is, if you're hitting a shorter club into the green, like they did at Winged Foot, they knew that everybody was going to miss fairways. They were trying to miss fairways 330 yards down the hole. So if you missed a fairway and he's strong, he could wedge it or whatever out of the rough, versus trying to figure out how to hit more fairways. Because they when they got to Winged Foot, they basically figured out, I don't care who you are, you're going to miss fairways this week. Right. So we need to be as far down that field as possible. And that's really great for me as a coach, because I've tried to get people to do that for a long time. And you may have had people on talking about shot patterns and that kind of stuff in the past, but now we can reverse engineer where players are hitting it to, where they're making birdies from, all that kind of stuff. I mean, there was for the longest time when I was doing practice rounds with players, we'd be out there and going, okay, if the pin's in the right, we need to be in the left, or blah, blah, blah. And now they've looked at all this TrackMan, all the shot link data, too much data, and seen on the fairway, when they put the grids down of where people made birdie from, they're making it from the rough, they make it from the right fairway, the left fairway, the left rough, the right rough. There's no correlation between being in the right place in the fairway and being able to make a birdie. This week only, or not only, but one of the few weeks where that might be more prevalent, given the undulations in the green. But generally speaking, if you have speed and you have height, you can stop it most pin places close where you need to stop it.
And when you say height, you're talking about ball flight and how high the trajectory of the ball, how high you're hitting it, and it's coming straight down, or is it landing at a glancing angle, right?
Correct. Yeah. So like one of the players I used to kind of help with was Heath Slocum, who was phenomenal ball striker, won on tour a number of times, led in proximity. Mark Blackman was his main coach. I helped Heath with some different stuff with Mark, and Heath would hit as many or more greens in regulation than nearly every player on tour, was leading proximity a number of years, but he was hitting, Heath is small relatively, and he was hitting shots into the greens because he didn't have the speed that some of these other guys do. His ball was landing at such a flat angle. Yeah. He couldn't keep it. If it was a front pin, he couldn't keep it close to the hole. Sure. So he could literally hit 18 greens in regulation and shoot over par. So, I remember years ago, I went to the Masters, and I've been to the Masters with players a number of times, but I went with my kids and was actually a spectator. So they didn't care about standing on the range, me watching guys practice and seeing what they're learning.
No, it's like, I want cookies. I want another sandwich. I want another shirt.
Yeah. Ice cream sandwich. Yeah. I want a hat. I want a mug, going through the trash cans, trying to find the Masters cups, all that kind of stuff. So I thought, okay, screw it. We're going on 15 or 16. We went down there, and we sat in the bleachers to the right of the hole as you were playing it. Yep. And normally I don't watch from there. I'm back in the fairway watching the guy hit the ball. it was fascinating to watch the land angles of the leaders, because they were hitting it better, obviously, that week. They were hitting it harder, probably. But their ball was coming in with an iron, landing like this and stopping on the green.
Sure.
And if you're at the Masters, you're a damn good player. It's not like you're a slouch. The other guys are hitting longer irons or hybrids, and they're landing in the middle, over the back, making par possibly. These guys are landing it vertically almost and having a good look at eagles. So it's like, okay, you've got side to side, but controlling front back is what we look at most of the time at the higher level.
So that's a good. So, and I swear we're going to get into more Masters conversation in a minute. But it's interesting that you bring that up, and just looking at the are folks successful at Augusta because they're successful at Augusta because they're damn good golfers, as you just mentioned. But you look at individuals that, you look at the multiple winners there, multiple time winners, and they're multiple time winners everywhere. And then you look at kind of these, I don't want to call it one-off because it's not a one-off per se, but hey, Augusta was the place that I could win. And is that because, is some of that tied back to my ball flight, my ball trajectory? And the greens are hard as hell no matter what, right? And no matter how good of a putter you are, you can still wind up, three-jacking plenty of putts at Augusta, right? So is that a correlation as to why I'm a major winner at Augusta and maybe I didn't pull it off anywhere else? Do you think there's any tie-ins there?
Yeah, I think if you think about Ben Crenshaw, phenomenal putter, won twice at Augusta, not known as the straightest driver of the golf ball. So a U.S. Open, he was a fairly high ball striker for a Texan, hit it high, putted unbelievably, and hit it plenty far enough that he was hitting probably shortish irons into the greens.
Yeah.
So you either have to have phenomenal ball control, like I would say a Morikawa has got phenomenal ball control with his irons, probably easily.
We've got our first pick, I heard.
Yeah, well, maybe not. But like if he's not hitting it, say, as far as a Dustin, as good as he is, he's not going to control the distance as well. So it's not only where you land it, it's how far it will roll out once it's landed. So if you got I'd always take a long hitter and a good putter over a good iron player at Augusta.
So long hitter, good putter versus
a good iron player,
right? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, versus an iron player. Yeah.
Yeah. So which is so interesting, right? And I made a note because I wanted to talk. I knew we were going to talk about Bryson, your time with Como. We're probably not going to have enough time to get into the BMW experience with the Como concepts because I've already got us way down a damn rabbit hole over here that I can't get us out of. So that may be for the next show. But if you look at Bryson and his results. Now he's played well at Augusta, right? What do you got? 88 players there. You get the top 50 in the world, and then you get some variation of other kind of pull-ins. But I wouldn't say that he's played Augusta really well compared to other golfers. But when you take the Open, for example, where he's just crushing the ball. I don't care where it lands. I just need it to be in play, and I'll get it out of whatever I need to get it out of. Do you think that Augusta National kind of brings Bryson's strengths, right, which are power and length and speed, down a little bit because it puts him more at parity because you don't have the rough to deal with? Now, you've got rough, but not the rough that you're dealing with at these other courses. And again, if it rains like it says it's going to this weekend, everybody's going to have a challenge with distance. Got a few more patrons there this week than we did in November. So, but again, I don't think it really had any damper on what we've seen over the past from a rough standpoint. You get a lot of pine straw is the rough, right? You're either in bushes or you're in pine straw. The rough is really not rough at Augusta.
No, it's not.
I guess my question is Bryson, does Augusta kind of pull down? Is that the one course that just may not set up well for him in what he's doing versus what other people are doing that kind of put them at more of a parity?
Yes, potentially. The rough is he so much longer? Like Matt Wolff at the U.S. Open. Like Bryson was the 7th longest hitter at the U.S. Open. So other guys are running it out as far as him. He's flying it farther than those guys. So with not having much rough, that advantage kind of goes away. And if it's firm off the tee, it's a different game because everybody's running it out there a good distance to have a fairly short, these are the best players in the world. So is Bryson that much better with a wedge than like another guy with a 9-iron? Not that much. I mean, it's a club. Now, if he's hitting wedge and they're in 6-iron, clearly he's going to be significantly better. And I think that was more the case at Wingfoot. Whereas Augusta, if it's fairly firm and dry, it's not as much an advantage. And if the greens are firm, then I don't care who you are at Augusta. You even if you're hitting short irons, you cannot get as aggressive as you can at some other courses because of the firmness, the quadrants of the green, and then if you miss it in the wrong spot, it doesn't just stop by the edge of the green. It's running way away from the green. Even though there's no rough around the greens, you're making bogey a lot of times. And like you said, if you hit the greens in the wrong spot, you can definitely 3-putt very easily. So from that respect, yes, there is parity to it.
Yeah, we recently recorded with Pete Charleston from Golf Logics, and we were talking a lot about green books and those kind of things. And you mentioned Morikawa earlier, right? And I don't Instagram, Twitter. It was one of those things, but they were showing pictures of I think it was Morikawa's green book, and it basically it had. If I'm not cheating here, but I get in trouble. But it had like the green, and he had a line kind of drawn down between the thing, and it had a big NO over here, and then it had a check mark over there, and I think it was on 12, the par 3, right? It was it just said no, and it's like you don't even think about it, you don't even consider it. You hit left. And depending on wind, where the pin placement is, where the tee box is, then that just tells me how far right I can go when I'm hitting it left.
Yeah. There's a lot of holes like that. There was a fairly, I mean, for me being a golf nerd, it's a fairly famous story. But Payne Stewart at the Memorial, so Memorial course is very similar to Augusta in the way that Jack designed it. And Payne came in one day, and Jack apparently was saying, like, so how was the course today? And he goes, it's not good in places. Like, you can't even fire at the pins. And Nicklaus was like, who says you're supposed to fire at the pins? Like, and Payne's like, oh, shit, the guy has won 18 majors. He's just telling me I'm an idiot.
You just told me the secret sauce, man.
Just told me the secret sauce. So everybody, honestly, is doing that with their yardage books. They are... Like we know when we go to a tournament, but Augusta's a great scenario. Like on Sunday, we could all tell you roughly probably 14 of the 18 greens where the pin is going to be.
Absolutely.
And so every tournament we go to, we know, or the caddies from the previous years, the good caddies keep their yardage books. They keep their pin sheets. In their yardage books, they tell you what the wind was, what the temperature was, dew point, what they hit from this yardage every day, practice versus tournament, and they know where the pins are going to be. So they know roughly when we're doing practice rounds where the pins are going to be one of those 4 days. And then you're looking on the yardage book to go, okay, even if the pin is whatever, I cannot go over this part of the green. So you're literally taking a yardage book and taking the green. Some guys use different color highlighters so that if you're out of position, you got to play to here and that kind of thing. So they're all doing that. And the thing is, when you see somebody playing on Sunday and hitting a great pitch shot or a great approach shot, they have probably hit that shot at least once before that week in practice because they know if I'm in this part of the fairway or on this side, out of position a little bit, I am going here no matter what. And if I miss the green, I know this pitch is going to do that. So typically in a practice round, the guys will hit from the tee, they'll hit into the green, they'll play to the flag where it is in the practice round. And they, for the kids I coach, I'm always like, okay, where's the flag not going to be this week? And they look like, well, it's right where it is right now. There's no way it's going to be there. So don't spend too much time putting to that. So I get them to hit to the green, and then I kick the ball off in the areas where I think they're going to have to pitch from, so that they can get a bit of feel for the rough, for the pitching, whatever. We can't do that at Augusta because we're not allowed inside the ropes with the player. So it's a bit tricky, but the caddies are doing that. They're throwing it around.
Are you as a coach, are you with the caddy or the player prepping for kind of the practice round and saying, hey, make sure you hit from here. So you've got you've got it mapped out, and here's what you need to do. So it's there. You're just not there by their side, right?
Correct. Yeah. You're trying to get a plan ahead of time. So you're not, they are out of their comfort zone. So you're trying to make as many scenarios as possible where you've seen the script before. That's the goal of a practice round. It's not just seeing where to go. And a lot of this is not really new anymore. The caddies are on Google Earth, looking at the green from above, like, where's the most mass of the green to play to? Right. So even on the PGA Tour, we know that if they hit a green or miss a green, it's about half a shot difference if they miss a green, unless you're a Jordan Spieth or something like that, where the average tour pro is going to struggle half a shot more if they miss a green. So how do we job one, hit a lot of greens?
It's like you're a professional at this. Speaking of Jordan Spieth.
Oh yeah, segue. There you go.
Dan's he's likely to drive us back somewhere. He'll give me the hand, and it's like, hey, no, we're going back over here. But I mean, how friggin' great. So, and Dan and I talked about this when we recorded earlier in the week, but could it be more scripted, PGA? What are you sipping on, by the way, if you can say?
Johnny Walker, black.
Black? If I'm sipping Johnny, I'm going black.
Yeah. I can't handle bourbon. I don't know what it is. It's I guess the I didn't realize whiskey is white or Scotch is white, and then they use bourbon barrels to make it bourbon, whatever that could. Yeah. So
generally speaking, so I'm going to send you. I'm going to send you one of our barrel picks. There you
go.
Bottle of this. So
nice. Thank you.
And it's a rye, so it'll probably be a little more in tune with some Scotch.
I'll take the next day off.
Well, you don't drink the whole bottle in one sitting.
Oh, okay.
You got to work up to
That's
that.
where I'm going wrong.
You got to work up to that. Up to that. So Jordan Spieth, could it be more scripted? So let's see. Brooks Koepka shows up Sunday before the Masters, unannounced. Just, hey, here I am. Give me my 3 holes.
Yeah.
John Rahm has his baby the weekend before. He did, but his family has the baby the weekend before.
Yeah.
Jordan Spieth has just been beating the lights out of it, and he wins in his home state.
Yeah.
Dan, what am I missing as far as the scripting goes?
Rory is blaming Bryson for his swing challenges.
Yeah.
Rory's blaming Bryson for his swing. I mean, this is like the PGA has unseated the WWF or WWE as the script. I'm kidding. That's completely a joke. But the cards couldn't be more in line for just the, hey, you want something to talk about? Talk about this. And you've got so many friggin' things, man. But what about Spieth? Do you think we got something here?
Oh, yeah, it's impressive. I was just thinking in my head that the starter on Thursday is going to say, let's get ready to rumble or whatever that guy used to say. Yeah.
Hey, if you're going to say it, you got to do it the right way.
Let's get ready to rumble.
Exactly.
Yeah. Probably not. There goes. I've played Augusta twice this year. I probably won't be going back after that.
We'll cut that out. Just kidding.
Yeah, cut that out. Yeah. Spieth, I would have lost a lot of money on. I'm looking at stats all the time. So he has done what I think is pretty impossible all the way along, from how to put a round of golf together. Like the way he gets it done does not add up in the normal sense of the word. He's always been phenomenal at that middle range putting distance, sort of 10 to 20 feet, 25 feet. If you're making 1 or 2 of those around, and you're doing all the other things well, you are going to be either winning or right there. And he did that for a long, long time. He was adequate with his driver early on and phenomenal with his irons, and phenomenal with short game, and phenomenal with putting. And then, of course, a little bit in the same, he wasn't blaming Bryson, but in a little bit in the same role, he tried to get longer and then lost directional control, or just, if you always had if you're a bit shaky and you go faster, then you're going to be more offline kind of thing. Right. So he's struggled with that, and thankfully he's brought it back. And I honestly would have told you he's not going to come back, just not only because it's tough to go through what he's gone through, but everybody else was getting better at the same time. Yeah. So they
were getting better by, they weren't getting like a stroke better. I mean, they were like well ahead.
Yes. Yeah. If he's playing with like the mental fortitude of doing what he's doing, he's playing with, the best players in the world. He's paired with Dustin Johnson. He's paired with Rory McIlroy. I mean, that's like me playing with Jordan Spieth. I mean, they are driving it so well. Right. And you've almost got to have blinkers on. So the intestinal fortitude he's got is pretty incredible. Mm-hmm. Because I don't care what you say, those guys are looking at each other to see what they're doing. I mean, they are like sheep out there. And so he's tried to get the driving better. I looked on his stats from when he won this past week. He barely was above in the strokes gain category. He was right at even or slightly above off the tee. So still, he's not hurting himself, but certainly not gaining anything. And then he kicked ass on approaches and putting again. So I've got nothing but respect for him. I've met Jordan a few times, couldn't be a nicer kid, so impressed with him. Not a massive fan of the way he plays golf because it goes against a lot of the things that I think are important from a driving perspective. But shit, he's good. Mm-hmm. And however he thinks, I would like tell any kid I'm coaching, look at how he plays golf. Yeah. The other one I tell people do is look at how Mickelson plays golf back in, a few years ago when he was doing better. But Mickelson can hit it so far offline and, have a bit of a hissy fit, but not bad. But then pull driver on the next hole and hit it hard again. Most players are like, oh my God, what happened? Like, and he's just like,
I would reframe that statement and not when he was playing better, but when he cared. And I'm not saying that he doesn't still care. I'm just saying that, whatever he gets today or tomorrow, that's icing on the cake, man. I mean,
yes and no. I think if he's sitting there having a drink with you, he's going to reflect like, I've had a hell of a run. I'm one of the best players that's ever lived. I've got all the money I need, et cetera, et cetera. But again, back to what we said earlier, you don't get that good by being a good loser. Yeah. So, that's that does not switch off. So like, I was looking at something about F1 the other day. It's like two F1 drivers in a room. They're not holding the door open for each other. They are running to the door to see who can get out first. So you think of any competition with Mickelson, he's going to bet you and he is going to try and beat your ass. So it's from a human perspective, you hope you can kind of balance that out so you're a decent human. But from an athlete perspective, you absolutely want that mindset. You want to feel like I am not content with this shit. So if he misses a cut this week, which I hope he doesn't, he's not riding home in his G5 going, life's pretty good. Like, he's on the phone to his coach going like, what the fuck? This is, right. I talked to Como last week. So I was with him before LA Open. He missed a cut at LA, did Bryson. And then he played better at the WGC at the concession. And then I don't know which order it was in, whether it was Honda first and then Bay Hill. But he didn't play Honda, I don't think, but won Bay Hill and then almost won the Players. So
third at the Players, yeah.
Yeah, phenomenal. Like legit had a chance to win it. He was right there and should have possibly won it. Who knows? Yep. And so I talked to Como, and so I hadn't talked to him since I was with him in February. I talked to him last week. He was on his way home. And I said, how you doing? He goes, I'm worn out. He said, I've been on the road 6 weeks, teaching every day. And I said, and then he said, I'm talking to Bryson every night. I was like, okay. I said, how's that? I said, is he happy? He goes, no, he's not fucking happy.
He's never happy. Right?
No, he's on the phone like bitching about how it's going. And that's the mindset of a player. And that does not change. Like they are happy for a little while and then it's like, okay, let's go.
So as a coach, do you feel more pressure when your guy is coming in third, first, 22nd? Or do you feel more pressure when you're the coach of the guy that's the lowest ranked player coming into the Masters?
I think you're feeling pressure regardless. I mean,
it doesn't matter.
I think you're trying to figure out. You're looking at that player. So in my mind, and I'd like to know from other coaches, I am always trying to get them to run a race against themselves. Like, what do they need to do to get better on a daily basis, or figure out, are we trending up or trending down, and how early do we spot that, and what things can we spot earlier that are avoiding a downward slide. So I don't think you're really kind of, I think from an egotistical point of view, you're walking around with your chest puffed out, but you're still thinking, okay, I've got to, get this, keeping going the right direction. And I think our job as coaches is to try and keep it going this way as much as possible, and sort of be 15 minutes ahead on thinking what could potentially be coming up.
Yeah. So you mentioned it. You said, you'd like for coaches to get together and talk about, and it's, are you competing as coaches? I'll speak for you. So, but I would say yes. I mean, everybody wants to, and you probably got, I want to coach that guy because I think I've got this for him, and you've got relationships and what have you. But, do you think that in general, and you said Chris and yourself are good friends, and there's a relationship there where you guys are kind of, intimate with each other in your expertise, right? In your expertise. Yeah. And it's not a, hey, somebody's coming to take over, or somebody's coming to try and take something from me. It's like, no, hey, I'm willing to, I would appreciate the opportunity to come and offer something that I may see from my eye that your eye has seen for so many times that you just may have missed because it's so routine or mundane that you just miss it. And it may not be glaring, right? I mean, you may be looking for more of the finite kind of aspects of something. Do you think that the coaching world of PGA coaches, do you think that's...
Yeah, I think look at anything for a long time, you get a bit did by it.
Did we lose him?
He'll be back.
Got you back? We got you back?
I lost you then, account.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think we lost you.
Yeah. Sorry, I don't know if that was me or you.
No, I think it was you. It's okay.
It's still frozen on my end. There we go.
Yeah, I think it was you. You good?
Okay, sorry.
I don't know where we cut out, but...
I think so. It was, so I think what you're saying is I think that doing what we do is tough, and we're okay with that. That's what we signed up for. Right. But I think you've got a great group of coaches out there who truly want to get their players better. And you have friends out there, and you have friends that you speak to, like Mark Blackburn's a good friend, Chris Como, Jeff Leishman. There's a ton of the coaches that are good friends of mine. Claude Harmon. I mean, I'm not out at tour events very much at the moment, but a lot of times we are there, and it's like hurry up and wait. So you are getting there when the player says get there, and then they show up when they want to show up, basically, because they're tour players and they get to do that. So we are standing around chatting, and there are guys that I love chatting to. Chuck Cook is a famous coach. Anytime I get time with Chuck, I am like trying to gently not wear him out, asking questions about things. And I'm sure I annoy him and wear him out.
You're going to have to teach me that approach someday.
Of not wearing people out, or
just not being annoying,
Oh, okay. Yeah. But I tell you what, if you're annoying in an interesting way, it works. So
I've got positive reinforcement here. Positive reinforcement.
But what John's talking about is that curiosity of trying to get
better. Yeah. And I think to Dan's point, I think it is, we are all curious, and I think that we all know we're all going to get canned at some point by the players. So we are trying to figure out, how can I learn as much in this situation and get this player better? Because I think every coach, Sean Foley, another great coach, we all give a shit. Like, we are trying to get these guys better, and we are really trying to figure out what we need to do better. So when a player doesn't perform, they feel like crap, but we feel like crap too. So like, over the weekend, one of the kids I coached got into the Canadian Q School, Another college player played like shit. So I'm like, for 2 minutes, I'm thinking, this is great. You know, one guy's got his tour card, and then 2 minutes later, I'm checking scores, and the other kids played like shit. So I'm like, it lasts for about a second, and then you know, so you know, it's always that, like, you think you know what you're doing, and they're like, oh shit, what did I miss? You know, so
reality sets in.
Reality sets in. So it's how are you looking at those things and figuring out. So I think all the coaches that I think are good, I have no fear of picking up the phone and talking to them. And I think that has definitely changed in the last 15 years. I think you've got a younger breed of coach out on tour. I mean, I'm not that age anymore. A lot of these guys are very young now, and they've just grown up a different way. Where
you don't feel old. Don't lie to me.
I'm as old as the woman I feel at the moment. Yeah, so now I'm fine. Lindsay's a lot younger than me. But it's like years ago, great coaches had information, and they literally tried to keep that information close to their chest.
Right.
And now with the advent of, like, we're looking up tee times on our iPad, and I'm on my phone doing this conference with you, we have so much information. So the information is out there now. It's not like you can hide information from anybody. It's understanding how to disseminate that information and make it work for the player or for the student, whatever it might be. And as coaches, we are talking a lot. And like, literally, there's a guy in Atlanta, Sean Coach. I take my students to him if I have a putting issue, because Sean knows more about putting than I do. Sean has talked to the golf engineers about shafts more than I have. So literally now it's a bit of laziness, because it's like, I could study for hours. I'm not going to get to the level of information he is. So I just pick up the phone and say, hey, can you take a look at this guy? Or I'm seeing this happen in the golf. I was literally on the phone with him this morning about a driver that one of my players on the contract has to use, and he knows more about it than I do. So I'm like, what do I need to know? Like, what am I missing? Because he understands where that driver weighting is, and this player is struggling with his driver. And
well, but how much are you missing? How much would you miss by not doing that versus pushing that to someone that's an expert in that field? And you being, what I'm hearing is that the golf instructor or coach, or whatever label you guys want to hold, it's becoming more, hey, this is what I can help you at, and this is where this is what I know that I can help fix if there's the ability to do that. If it's possible, here's where I'm going to help you. And I'll get kind of, I can veer off a little bit. But, on the other side, it's like, hey, if you're really going down this road, I need to get you off to somebody else, because there's probably somebody else over here where your time's better served, right? And it's a better result.
Yeah, and the player doesn't want to speak to other people. So our job as a coach is to vet these other people to make sure that we're the voice that they trust, but we're pulling in experts to get that information to them. So we are we're the one that get yells at if we're wrong, but they need a person, like, when shit hits the fan, who they're looking for, and they're looking for your person who's the coach. Exactly. Yeah, you got it. And so I have to find experts that I trust, talk to, do the due diligence with, bring them in, and make sure we're on. So a lot of times, we are testing these players with other experts, and the expert a lot of times isn't talking to the player much.
Sure. Like
with Como, I know Como very well, but like, we're together with Bryson's hitting balls. I'm looking at 3D of him and talking to Como about, for instance, right arm structure, where his arm is, what it's moving like. And I was like, Chris, this is what I'm seeing. This is what I think's correct. And he goes, well, don't tell me, tell him. I was like, okay, well, I just wanted to run it through you first. I didn't want to go, even though I'm in the room with him, I didn't want to start talking to Bryson, hey, you need to do it. Because he's like, okay, I know you're in the room, but like,
who the fuck are you?
Who the fuck are you? Yeah.
Intimidating or not intimidating?
Oh, intimidating. I mean, anytime you're telling a player who can do what you're telling them to do, if you say, absolutely, I know this is correct. Like, we were looking at data. So this wasn't my opinion. We were looking at absolute data and saying to him, hey, I think you need to do this. And he's like, no, that's not. I was like, okay, well, you can. And so I actually saw Chris at the Players on TV working on right arm stuff, like where his arm is located, how it's extending. And sorry, when I talked to Chris, I was like, hey, so you working on some of the arm stuff? He goes, yeah. I said, does he like it? Yeah. He goes, no, still don't like it, but I'm still working on it. So I was like, okay.
But I mean, some of this stuff is trial and error, right? I mean, it's not I mean, the data says this, here's what I see that could deliver a different, could execute what you're trying to get to. Try this. Let's see if it works. I mean, it's not like, oh shit, hey, the recipe is a cup of this, a tablespoon of that. I mean, it's not. I mean, it's the human body, and it's mechanics and it moves. Yeah. But it's not. While it's fluid, there's still all of this stuff that could happen.
Absolutely. So think of 3D motion capture, force plates, video. It's all history. It's not the future. So we can tell you what you're doing, but when you need to move and how much, what magnitude, what direction, for how long, that's the future. So my job is to look at history, look at the data of what just happened, and then try and extrapolate what needs to happen ahead of time. Because if I'm telling you in the downswing you need to do this, well, the downswing only lasts a quarter second. So if I'm trying to tell you something in the downswing, we need to back it up. So then what you're telling somebody in transition that's changing the downswing. So we need to look at data, but then we need to understand what input is that player, what do they need to do to make that actual change. So one of the things that's been interesting in our world is understanding force, because the force always precedes motion. So we see the motion, that's what video looks like, that's what the 3D looks like, that's what the force plates will show you ahead of time where the force vectors are going. But our job is to understand, okay, if I want this swing to change, what force do I need to try and tell you to put into the grip to change that motion? So I'm literally trying to get ahead of the motion that you're seeing.
Yeah, and it probably feels nothing like what it looks like.
Oh, and that was one of the great things about Bryson when he walked in. He says, I don't give a fuck what you tell me to do. I don't give a fuck what it feels like. I will do what you tell me to do. And I'll know pretty quickly whether it's going to work.
That's got to be fun, though. It's got to be fun.
Fantastic.
It's got to be fun, and because I mean, no doubt he's an athlete. He's a great golfer, right? I mean, and being able to tell somebody, hey, I need you to do this, and I'm sure it takes a couple of what atches to get the feel right. But it's like I can actually execute what you're illustrating to me. Like I can lay it up. That's got to be a ton of fun to get to go down that road.
Well, it is, and it's interesting then when you deal with the recreational players. There's not a knock on a recreational player because I'm not a Bryson DeChambeau, so I'm sure I say the same things. But like, I just can't feel that. Like I can't trust that. It's like, are you kidding me?
Just trust it.
I had a client a few weeks ago, and he's a very successful guy. And I teach a lot of Type A's, so they're either really good players or they're very successful businessmen. And this guy walked in, and he was really successful guy, and he's like questioning everything. I'm look, dude. Like I'm telling you what I'm telling you. I have not made this up. This is 30 years of me studying this stuff. So I'm happy to help you, but if you don't want to try it, then we should just stop right now, because I am telling you what it's taken me 30 years to learn. And you're telling me what you're, So if you want me to just stand here and agree with you, because, then I'm not your guy.
Jay, like just send the check. Send the check.
Yeah. Mailbox money. But I'm charged with, I eat what I hunt. So like, if I don't get those players better, they're going to find somebody that will. And so, I think, and I told this before, one of the Ryder Cup players I worked with, a European Tour player, I was at a tour event with him, and it's like, it's Wednesday or Tuesday or something, and he's swinging pretty well. And I'm trying to get him kind of pumped up and feeling good. And he hit some shots a bit squirrely. And he's like, what's that about? I said, it looks really good. It's pretty close. He goes, John, I don't need a fucking cheerleader. I need you to tell me what I'm doing. I was like, okay, boss, let's go. Fair enough.
That's
Well, hey, I wouldn't. Oh, and in that vein, I am moving to back. We're getting back on. We're supposed to be talking about the Masters.
Oh,
Jon Tattersall.
sorry.
But I don't know. I can't resist. Anytime we get on, it's such a pleasure to chat with you.
It
I
is.
know you're on vacation, and I know we're going to get the hammer at some point.
Yeah.
So we got to get into this stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see. So Dan's got some things for you. I got a couple things for you. Dan, do you want to go first? You want me to go first?
Do some tournament props and matchups. Let's do some matchups.
Yeah.
Do the matchups.
Yeah.
With John.
Yeah.
All right. So first one we got here is Xander versus P. Reed. And
is this who's most popular? Or what's that?
Xander is -137, so he's favored, and P. Reed plus 105.
Who's winning in the matchup?
I think I would take Xander in that every day of the week, except possibly this. No, I think every day of the week. When I was there when Patrick won. What year was that? 19, 18? 18?
18. Yeah, because
I think it was
Sergio
18.
won 17.
Yeah.
He put the jacket on. Yeah, 18. Yeah.
18. Okay, so like the pros at Augusta are great. I know them. And they said he was there the week before purely putting, like spent hours out there on the greens, mapping out every green, working around the greens. And then I was joking that it's going to be a very, very small champions dinner next year. But if you look at how they're hitting it, which a lot of it, no matter how well you putt, you still got to hit it very well. I would take Xander on that one.
Okay. I think I'm going to go with John on this one. I'm taking Xander. I know Cal's got Reed, though.
P. Reed, baby. Give me P. Reed.
Yep. Bryson versus Rahm.
Ooh, that's a good one. If the right Bryson shows up, I'd take Bryson. If Rahm is euphoric over having his first child, then. But I think that's a tough one to come back from having your first child, and as soon as you hit one bad shot, you're off thinking about why am I not home holding my child.
Yeah, I'm with John on that one too. I think the kid thinks the kid thing for sure.
And he's now Rahm's a little emotional on the course. I mean, that's
it's Spanish.
Sergio Sevi. I mean, do you think that he enjoys seeing Sergio go to that dinner? And he's like, no. I'm Spanish. Why in the hell am I not going to the dinner? It is eating at his crawl. I think Rahm is going like, the baby's here. I've got that off my back. I'm going to throw down at Augusta.
Yeah, I think both of those are great picks, honestly. I think I may have told you today, Dave Phillips is Rahm's coach. I spent 3 hours with Rahm probably 18 months ago, watching him hit balls, talking to him on the range in San Diego. Couldn't be nicer. I loved him. Got done at the end of it. And he said, hey, thanks for coming out. I'm like, seriously? I just watched you hit balls for 3 hours and work on short game and talking with you about it. And I got to watch that display and you're thanking me. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, he was tremendous. And look, I'm European, so the Spanish golfers have done so much for European golf. So I'm a huge fan of all of them. But, that's a great matchup. If Rahm shows up, like, is he ready to be there? Then he's really good.
Perfect segue into the European. Fitzpatrick versus Hatton. I pronounced it right.
Off.
I pronounced it right.
Hat on and hat off. Yeah. I think Tyrrell is. I'd take Tyrrell on that bet. I think Fitzpatrick's got the precision for that golf course, and he's a phenomenal putter. Hatton hits it better, but Fitzpatrick, he could be a good one on that golf course because he outthinks most people, great putter, and has good ball control on what he's doing. He's got, I don't know this for sure, but his caddy used to caddy for Sevi, and I'm not sure if he's been on the bag of a winner there or not before. He might have been.
Okay, cool.
He's a good Yorkshire lad.
We're not professionals either, so we don't know.
What do you think, Cal?
Yeah.
I like Hatton. I think he's playing with some purpose, and I think he's been a little bit shaky kind of coming in. It's So and I think Augusta is one of those places that he's going to be able to show up to, that he's familiar with. And I think out of the
he hits it higher than Fitzpatrick too.
Yeah.
He's a streaky player. I mean, he is not scared either. I mean, he's been in the lead, kept the lead, won, so he's not scared.
That's the thing. If if he's on, I think he's going to pressure and he's going to hammer down. I think Fitzpatrick is playing. I don't want to say he's the nice guy out there, but I think he's playing his game. And he's not varying. It's kind of all the way.
He's a baby face, but he's an assassin too. So I wouldn't.
Right. I'm not discounting him.
Yeah. Good. Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm. Here's a good one: Connors versus Adam Scott.
That is a good one.
I mean, hold on. I'm going to go for my love affair for
romance.
Good day, mate. And it's only because I've got a man crush on Adam Scott. Other than that, I don't know how I couldn't go with Corey Connors, except for I don't know many Canadians, and I need to diversify my friend portfolio.
I think you could flip a coin on those two. I don't know what Adam's done recently.
Okay.
He's been using a new driver shaft that is longer but hits it all over the place. And if you can do that anywhere, Augusta is probably where you can do it. But Corey Connors has been on a good run for a while. So that's a non-answer for you. Sorry.
No, that's fine. No,
that's definitely a pass.
That hey, you know what? If it's that kind of matchup and a pass is a pass, you don't want to take money. Yeah, sure. Here's one that I was actually surprised at the odds at: Cantlay versus Rory.
Who they got favorite? Cantlay.
The Cantlay's favorite, but they're both minus, so they're both.
Yeah.
Cantlay's
not on the boil really at the moment, but he's an interesting player. He could turn it on pretty quickly. Be interesting to see how Rory turns up. Pete Cowan is I'd like to say he's a friend. I've known him a long, long time. He's just started working with Rory, so hopefully some of that form starts turning around and how he starts performing and gets back to how he used to drive it. I mean, his nickname on tour was BMW because he was the ultimate driving machine. He's lost some of that. So
I knew we'd get to the Como concepts eventually.
Contractually, I had to weave that in there. No, that's not. That's actually what they used to call him. Yeah.
All right. Spieth versus Scheffler.
I doubt Spieth can do it back to back. Scheffler played great at the match play and then played like ass in the last round, like it ran out of steam. But I might take Scheffler on that one, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going. I'm on the Spieth Island all day, baby. Spieth Island.
Table for one. There you go.
All right, last one. Bryson versus DJ.
I don't know what's going on with DJ recently. I'd take Bryson on that one.
Woo! That's a big pull. You better have another sip on that one, Mr. Tattersall. That's a big pull.
You want me to be right? Okay, sorry.
Well, hey, listen. Well, maybe I don't know if he's coming on the show. Absolutely. If he's still coming on the show, then pick it. So hold on, a couple more for you, and then you may have some stuff to fire off, and I know you got to go, so I won't keep you long. Does the where'd my notes go? Oh yeah, does the winner of the Masters come from the final group on Sunday?
Oh, what is the odds on this? It's a pretty high percentage, isn't it? I forget what it is, but
I wasn't looking. I'm not looking at odds.
Yeah.
Well, maybe I'm looking at odds, but it could be. I don't know.
Yeah. Does it come from? No, I think this year. Well, you said you looked at the weather for the weekend. Is it going to storm on the weekend or is it going to be dry?
Well, so here's what's supposed to happen. Like starting Thursday, it goes to 30%. Friday goes to 50%. And then on Saturday and Sunday, I think Sunday's clear. And Saturday, you're like 30%. But it's friggin' it's middle Georgia in April. And it's going to be in the 80s all week. So it is going to be thunderstorm city. I mean, it is. We're going to wind up in a mud pie there. It's either going to be mud pie or it's going to be just dried and cracked, and they're going to have to water the hell out of it.
Well, that won't happen, and they've got sub air, so it won't be wet. Those things will be pumping like crazy. I think if it's dodgy weather, it says Sunday partly cloudy. I think the winner's going to come from the final group.
I'm trying to find the final group.
It's a high percentage from what I remember.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that.
It is high. Are we going to see? Do we break the course record? Do we break it, or do we break the 20 under this year?
No.
I'm a no as well.
I agree with Dan.
Can I throw a winning score out there? 278.5. Always got to be that half, over or under. The over is plus 110.
278. So 284 is par. Is that right? 278. Yeah. So 6 under. I think he'll be under that. I think he'll be less than that.
Yeah, I do too.
I mean, I know Spieth made some comment about it being really dry in Augusta for the last few weeks, but we've had some strong storms. So
the previous couple of weeks, yeah, we've had a lot of rain.
So I think
we've had tornadoes. We've had, it's been rough through here, man.
Biblical. It's been biblical, yeah. So I don't think it's going to be absolutely baked out. And those are the only times, like length, they can't defend against length anymore. I mean, they just can't make it long enough. But if they make it dry enough, then they just can't keep it close to the hole. And so that's the only way they're keeping scores reasonable anymore. I mean, the last Masters, which was a weird one in November, obviously, it was traumatic to me, the difference in scoring, because DJ played so great and got so low. But if you looked at the scores of a lot of guys, it was very high scoring. Like they were not hitting it close enough. The course was playing very long. DJ just played unbelievable. He drove it so good. It was incredible.
And you think it's going to be so? Do you want to? Let's see. I do have a question on the margin. Let's see. Margin of victory. 4 strokes or more at plus 225.
Oh,
I'd say within 4. I don't see anybody particularly running away with it. I think there's too many, unless somebody who is phenomenal has a phenomenal week. I think there's going to be a lot of guys close to the lead. It doesn't begin until Sunday on the back nine at Augusta, as Jim Nance says.
That's right.
And Dan and I are experts at nothing. Jon Tattersall is a professional golf teacher, professional golf teacher, coach. So we are not professionals at picking scores. Do you think we see another playoff this year?
Oh, that's a tough one. Can I answer that on Sunday morning? I mean, I think potentially, yes. There's a lot of guys that are playing very well coming into this. I think there's a lot of emotion around. This isn't just another Masters. In my mind, this is a great Masters for a good reason, in that we're back in April. A lot of players are playing very well, seem to be coming into form, and the weather is pretty predictable. So I think you're going to have a lot of guys, unless somebody just goes crazy, I think you're going to have a lot of guys at or close to the lead come Sunday afternoon.
You heard it here. You heard it here. Jon Tattersall, where can people find you, sir? You're on vacation.
Yeah, I'm in Sea Island at the moment. It's very nice. So St. Simon's, I guess. Tattersall Golf is probably the easiest way now. One good thing that came out of COVID, everything's more virtual. So Tattersall Golf is the best way. And then Golf Magazine has all the articles I've written and all that good stuff. So
cool.
That's the easiest way.
Awesome.
John, once again, sir, it has been a pleasure. I hope you and your family enjoy vacation down in St. Simon's Island. And where are you playing golf at this week?
Played the plantation course at Sea Island today. We snuck out for 9 and got 18 in. My brother-in-law and I. And Frederica tomorrow. And Sea Island.
Whoa! Now you're just bragging. Now you're bragging.
Cal, you asked. I'm merely answering the question.
Oh, excuse me, sir. And where's so Frederica, and then where are you heading?
Back to Sea Island on Thursday.
Okay.
I played the plantation course, which is a ton of fun. It's Davis Love's homage to, I think, Travis, Walter Travis, maybe the designer. So it's a lot of square greens, square tees, really cool. A lot of undulation in the greens. A lot of fun.
Yeah,
Nice.
awesome. Did you keep score?
I hit it actually pretty good today, and then I lost about 6 balls because I was going for stupid shit and hit it in the water a few times. So,
So the answer is no, he did not keep score.
for the first 8 holes, I kept score, and then the 7th hole, short par 3, hit a wedge in the water, and then all the talks I give the college players and junior players went completely out the window.
Well, I mean,
don't shoot at the flag. There's no point shooting at that flag. And guess what I did? Shut up.
You're on vacation. I mean, sometimes you got to let your hair down.
Yeah, this company right here are really good to me with golf balls. So it's like, who cares? Who cares?
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Free 99. Free 99.
Jon Tattersall, it's a pleasure, sir. Enjoy your week. And it's
let's check back and see how we did on those guesses, educated as they were.
We should. I'll send a note, and we'll have to get another date scheduled. I mean, if vacation gets boring, let me know. We can jet back on.
Cool. Have a recap Friday night. See how we did.
We actually could. We'll pretty much know what's happening.
I'm around. Lindsay's out of town. She's actually going to the Masters on Saturday and Sunday. So me, who's in golf, is not going. So she's going down to Berkman's. So
wow.
As a friend of mine says, it's like feeding strawberries to pigs. But there you go.
Do not cut that. Whatever you do, definitely leave that in there.
Yeah. See you guys.
Cheers.